Hi, I'd like to talk to you today about the relationship between magnesium deficiency and mast cell activation syndrome. Research has shown that magnesium deficiency can trigger an overproduction of mast cells in different parts of the body, and that it can increase the production of histamine, as well as reduce the amount of diamine oxidase in the small intestine, which breaks down histamine. So in a number of different ways, magnesium deficiency can result in mast cell activation, and supplementation with magnesium may really help with reducing mast cell activation by reducing the number of mast cells present, by increasing the amount of diamine oxidase, and also by lowering the amount of histamine that's produced by the mast cells that are present. I personally want to share this with you because I have benefited from supplementation with magnesium for my own experiences with mast cell activation syndrome. I personally use a spray form of magnesium that I use directly on the skin that's absorbed through the skin. I use magnesium chloride for that. I believe most forms of magnesium are safe for people with MCAS. The only one that can give a problem is magnesium citrate, but most of the other forms of magnesium are low in histamine. You do need to be careful to find a form of magnesium that doesn't have fillers or other constituents in it that trigger your mast cell activation syndrome. So here is a study about magnesium deficiency inducing the emergence of mast cells in the liver of rats. The study was done by Satoshi Takamoto et al. So it says, although magnesium deficiency increases mast cells in the small intestine, the kidneys, and bone marrow, the effect of magnesium deficiency on mast cells had not been clarified in the liver. So in this study, they examined the emergence of mast cells in the liver of Sprague-Dawley rats given a magnesium deficient diet. Rats were fed a control diet or a magnesium deficient diet for 4 weeks. Magnesium deficiency increased the levels of messenger RNA known to be expressed by mast cells in the liver. So they basically took a sample of how much messenger RNA that was a marker for the presence of mast cells was in the liver. So by measuring the messenger RNA, they could tell that the amount of mast cells had increased. It says histological observations showed that some mast cells were locally distributed around portal triads in the magnesium deficient group, but mast cells were scarcely found in the control group. These results clearly indicate that magnesium deficiency induces the emergence of mast cells around portal triads of the liver in Sprague-Dawley rats. And the study is much longer, but that's basically the abstract of it. And so the control rats that were not magnesium deficient barely had any mast cells around portal triads in the liver, whereas the magnesium deficient rats had way too many mast cells around the portal triads of the liver. And they've also found in other studies that magnesium deficiency increased mast cells in the small intestine, the kidney, and bone marrow. So it's probably safe to deduce that a lack of magnesium increases the amount of mast cells in many, many different parts of the body. And the increase in mast cells results in the increase in histamine, which causes all sorts of problems for people with mast cell activation syndrome. So here is another study called The Specific Change of Histamine Metabolism in Acute Magnesium Deficient Young Rats. And this is by Nishio et al. And the effects of dietary magnesium deficiency on histamine metabolism was studied. Young Weister rats were fed a magnesium deficient diet for 8 days, and then the control groups were fed a diet with magnesium in sufficient quantities for 8 days. And it says compared to the other groups, the plasma magnesium level was markedly lower in the magnesium deficient group. A return from the lower magnesium level to the level of control took place after feeding the magnesium deficient rats 0.21% magnesium diet for 2 days. So in the magnesium deficient rats, urinary histamine level increased rapidly after 4 days and reached a maximum on the 8th day of magnesium deficiency. So the high urinary histamine levels in magnesium deficient rats then decreased rapidly after they were supplemented with 0.21% of magnesium for 2 days. So the other groups, the control group and a food restricted group, showed no significant change. They did not have an increase in histamine content. So it was only the magnesium deficient rat that showed the increase in histamine content. And it was corrected after they were given enough magnesium again. The histamine content decreased. And also the amount of diamine oxidase activity was high and normal in control rats, and diamine oxidase is responsible for breaking down histamine. So the control rats who had enough magnesium had enough diamine oxidase to break histamine down properly, whereas the duodenal diamine oxidase activity decreased gradually and reached half the value of controls on the 8th day of magnesium deficiency in the magnesium deficient rats. So the magnesium deficient rats didn't have enough diamine oxidase to be breaking down histamine properly. So for all of these reasons, magnesium can be useful for those of us with mast cell activation syndrome, and is definitely a supplement to consider to help stabilize mast cells and moderate the effect of histamine. So I hope you found this video enlightening. If you did, please hit the like button and also hit subscribe. And I hope you have a great day.